Many rumors have been coming out about a inevitable Switch 2 follow-up to none other than the Nintendo Switch.
OLED.
Whenever we got the new Switch, we were like, oh, it's gonna be all this new stuff, and it turns out it was just an OLED screen, which is still great. Very good upgrade.
We call it a Switch 1.2.
Sure, 1.2.
I don't even think it was 1.5.
Yeah,
or maybe
yeah.
it was. I don't know.
But they did fix the back, the kickstand, which is like my favorite feature, and the fact that the kickstand actually isn't like a flimsy piece of crap anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, it's still flimsy, but it's
Made
more
of metal.
sturdy. Yeah,
I mean, I love it.
much more sturdy. Bigger screen, all that good stuff. Nicer screen, all that. But there's been rumors that there's always going to be a Switch 2 in the works. I mean, it's to be expected. We're now 6 years in the life cycle of the Switch 1. So it started showing its age 2 years in the life cycle of Switch 1 with the quality
Honestly,
of graphics.
Yes, but Breath of the Wild does look pretty good. Or sorry, not Tears of the Kingdom still looks pretty good. I mean, surprisingly, yeah, like it works.
Yeah, I mean, it's just the style sells it for sure. It's
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
it's
right.
kind of like playing Borderlands.
Mm-hmm.
Like Borderlands can get away with a little bit of like lesser quality, like textures, because of how stylistic it is. And like Tears of the Kingdom's very similar to that, in that it can, kind of get away with some changes there,
Yeah.
but it does look very good. I mean,
Well, for something that came out in 2017, like I know we've had problems with like the Switch with the graphics and stuff and the 720 screen, but like it's held up. I'm surprised how long it's held up. I didn't think they're actually going to make one, like a second Switch. I feel like they're going to try to ride this train as long as freaking possible. Like,
yeah.
it's 2017. Like, I feel like it could go longer than now if potentially one might be coming out.
Yeah.
That's my opinion, but let's
Yeah.
get into it.
Yeah, no, because I'm surprised. I feel like they need a cat. They've always had, but I mean, I guess Nintendo always has never been. They've never been a graphics powerhouse.
No.
Never. Their graphics are never the selling point. Mm-hmm. It's always the features and the technology and the uniqueness, I guess, in a way too, and just the quality of games. The
Right.
quality of games are good. They're not like, mind-blowing graphics, mind-blowing gameplay. They're very simple. They're very clean, basic stories, but fun. Like we talked about Pikmin. Like Pikmin's got a great looking visual style. It's not like 4K HDR, mind-blowing ray tracing and stuff like that, but it looks really good.
Yeah. Yeah. Right.
So yeah, I mean, it definitely does have a nice benefit, but there's been a lot of conversation recently, actually just within the last couple of days, of Gamescom. Whenever that was taking place, developers were giving behind closed doors demos of a Switch 2, potentially. Not potentially, they did. They were given that, but we don't know what it looks like. We don't know anything about it. All we know is that there were some behind closed doors demos, and that they were showing off its power with the Breath of the Wild tech demo, as well as Epic's The Matrix Awakens Unreal Engine 5 demo that came out a while back. Whenever Unreal Engine 5 came out, it's like explore New York, and like it looked really amazing and powerful and all that stuff. So they had all these, running on it, and the hardware, to people behind the closed doors, said that it's comparable to the PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series consoles.
That's insane.
Yeah.
That is literally insane.
So
I just pulled up what it takes to run the Matrix. Wait, is this the right one?
no,
This is
that's the
right
Matrix
one.
Online. So that's a very old game.
That is a very old game. Here you go.
very, very old. Yeah.
Anyway, I was trying to see, like, well, I mean, you need at least a freaking PlayStation, right? Like PlayStation
Yeah.
5
I mean,
or Xbox, like current gen.
It was only released on a PlayStation 5.
Oh, okay.
So
okay.
yeah, it was a PlayStation 5 exclusive tech demo. So yeah, it was designed to be like, look how badass it can be with the Unreal Engine 5 running on PlayStation. They may have
Yeah.
brought it on PC, but click on that. Can I play Matrix on Unreal Engine 5 on PC? Up at the top a little bit. A little drop down.
This one?
No, down two more. Right there.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, yeah. So
This
it
is
wasn't
the
ever on PC.
Okay,
You
okay,
could like
yeah,
mod it to be on PC. There actually, I take that back. You can download. I did do this one time. You can download the Unreal Engine software or no, the basic Unreal. So there's a while back they brought out Unreal Engine like Lite or something like that. I think it was what it was, but
Yeah.
I was able to run the Matrix City demo on PC through Unreal Engine, like the application.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
That's doable, but otherwise it's just PlayStation 5.
I gotcha.
Yeah.
Well, it is impressive that the Switch could do that. I'm trying to figure out what capabilities it would have if it is playing that. Is it playing it in 1080p? Is it playing it in 4K? Is it playing it in 2K?
That's a good question.
That's what I'm curious about. I feel like if they're going to come out with the Switch 2, they wouldn't necessarily go to 2K. I feel like they might, if another Switch came out, it'd be 1080, like the handheld screen.
Yeah.
Then maybe they'd have a dock that would up-res the 2K, or I don't know how they would do that, because it up-reses 1080 when you put it on the dock, right?
Right.
It's not like a true native 1080.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if it is or not. You might be right. I know it's just like a pass-through kind of system, but
Yeah, I don't think it's well, it might just output it. We'll find out here in a second to double check. But I feel like the Switch isn't going to rush out. Plus, the screens, the higher screen you get, the more power it takes, and graphical power and heat, and you got to get rid of that. And I think technology is progressing to the point where we can have better battery life. We can have smaller everything. The Switch being as small as it is, it vents pretty well. It does get hot, but it's not to the point where it's absolutely hard to hold on to, like a PC would. You touch a PC, you play on that, like the keyboard gets hot, or like a laptop. Keyboard gets hot, and you can feel the air venting out depending on where your vents are at. Like mine are next to my right hand, so when I'm playing, like sometimes I have it on full blast and I'm playing a graphics heavy game, like I feel that heat on my hand.
Yeah.
How does the Steam Deck hold up with heat and stuff?
Pretty good. It does it does put out heat for sure.
Yeah.
All through the top.
Okay.
That's where all the heat comes out, because obviously that's where the exhaust fan is, but it doesn't, the body of it doesn't ever get hot.
Okay.
It's just the top part that will put out some heat after a while. It also gets loud. You can hear the fan coming out of it for sure. So there is that factor to it, but it does better than I thought it would, but it is noticeable for sure. It's like basically having a laptop in your hand in a way. The Switch can run native 1080, but
Okay.
most games are running like 900p. That's what I was reading.
Okay.
So they do up-res when docked. Like Zelda is 900p.
Yeah.
So
I think we keep hearing issues with Xbox Series S and how all these games hit a roadblock because they have to run on that console.
well, it's really just been with Baldur's Gate.
Really?
Yeah, that's the only time I've been reading
man.
it.
Someone
Yeah.
else has said that recently. Oh, someone said maybe some of the issues with Starfield might have to do with they
Could
had
have
to
led
make it
to that,
run
yeah.
on Series S. So my thing is I think Nintendo's got a good thing going with 720 and 1080, but I wonder if they're able to brush that off, at least go to 1080, that it can open doors for developers. Like they aren't pigeonholed into because graphics are advancing pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Like they could do a lot in 1080.
Well, that is the problem with the Switch and why games don't come out on Switch as often.
Right.
Big name games especially, because they're having to down-res it so much. I mean,
Yeah.
why it took them forever to bring out Red Dead Redemption the 1 when they had it on Xbox forever was because, I mean, I guess not really on that. That's not probably a bad point because it's an old game anyway, but like there's so many games that do come out like a year after on Switch because of it being the Switch.
Right. Yeah. They have to, there's a lot of stuff going on in the background there.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of disagree with being okay with just. I think the next Switch should be. I don't think we need 4K. I don't want docked 4K necessarily. I don't need docked 4K. But I think to your point about like the 2K thing, I think the screen wise 1080 I'd be happy with for sure.
Right.
But I think docked I'd like to see a 2K for. I want to see it the equivalent of a Series S with 1440p.
The only reason I don't think it's feasible is, well, one is the heat, And then two, well, I mean, I guess it's docked. It's not going to, you're not going to really feel it. And then two, I just feel like how much are we going to be paying for the whole system if you're going to get like a 2K up-res? Now, up-resing might not be as taxing and or expensive compared to like, you know, just getting a console or something that's going to output it anyway.
Yeah.
Plus, I mean, they have bigger bodies anyway. Like, you know, the PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X, like they both have big bodies that they can vent stuff like that. So, I mean, I assume it's going to be very similar to this.
Yeah.
And do you think we'd even get a bigger screen?
I don't know if we need a bigger screen.
I like the screen size. I
Yeah.
bet it's like slightly bigger.
Think
Only
so?
slightly.
Yeah.
I wonder if they would ditch the Joy-Con sensors and stuff
What do you mean?
to lower, because you know the Joy-Cons have all the gyroscopes.
yeah.
Like, who uses that? Like, no game really uses that. Like Legend of Zelda, yeah, you can use it, and you use the Switch to kind of like aim when you have a bow out and shoot. But I feel like some of that stuff they could ditch if they wanted to. At this point, they might just keep it because it's just like a gimmick.
Well, I was gonna say,
just
I mean,
kept-
it was like I think it would be hard for them to get rid of it since that was such a big marketing push for them. I think if they
Yeah.
were to get rid of it, they'd be like, well, we kind of proved that this was a failed idea in the system.
That's true. That's true.
And they don't want, but I also don't think they like. I think the detachable Joy-Con is still great.
No, I do like that.
I'd love to keep that in there, and the vibrations. I mean, the gyroscope part doesn't really need to be there, but you know, I got gyroscope in my DualSense, and I never use it either. So,
They would probably keep the Joy-Cons because you could probably just use what you have already and slot that into your new Switch. Right?
maybe. Well, so this is unrelated to that point, but the fact that they're doing this makes me think maybe not about what you just said, because one of the rumors that they said about this is that it's rumored to come out the second half of 2024. It's going to have a portable mode and LCD screen. Well, they didn't say OLED, which is interesting. And I've also read that there's going to be a new cartridge slot and a new cartridge, but it is going to be backwards compatible. So like you can, but that doesn't mean if you have physical, I doubt that means that you can run that. So I'm like, I just don't get why Nintendo keeps doing this, where they like decide to change the cartridge each time, you know? And it's like they have a disc and they got a small disc and they got a big disc and they got a cartridge this size. And it's just like, just find some consistency here.
Yeah, yeah.
So, I mean, most of the games I bought on the Switch are digital, so like I don't really care that much. But those that buy physical all the time, which I know you buy a lot of physical, like if you have any physical, like if you're a Zelda game, you want to pull it out, like you got to play on your old Switch.
Yeah,
If you have the cartridge for it.
They'll come out with some peripheral that plugs into your dock that you can play, and or plug it into this, and there's some kind of like weird mechanism to make it work.
Yeah,
Just like having a Rumble Pack back in the day for N64.
right. But it's exciting to hear that there's potential that the graphic quality will be to the level of, like, it could be comparable to PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series. I find that interesting that I don't see how it can be running a 4K system, but maybe they somehow pulled it off, you know, like who knows?
If we're lucky, we get 2K.
Yeah.
I'm happy with 1080p. Like, I bet, I mean, okay, so what features?
You mean handheld though, right?
Yeah, handheld.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
I mean, I wouldn't mind
docked.
1080p either. Like, just, I think you can do a lot more with 1080p than you would with just 720. I mean, I would like to have 2K. I just don't know if you can vent that. Like the heat that it's going to produce, and I mean, yeah, we've come a long way. Batteries are a lot smaller. I'm sure they could find a way to make it happen. I mean, heck, I guess if I'm looking at my phone, I mean, it has a freaking pretty decent battery, right? Right. And they can play games at 4K. Oh wait, no, it's even more. This is like Retina, right?
It is
iPhone
Retina, but I
13.
actually looked it up and it's like not as good as I thought it was.
Really?
Yeah, it's 2532 by 1170. So it's 460 pixels per inch. So the pixel density is a lot higher than a standard screen.
Okay.
So therefore, I mean, I think it might actually be then. It's with 60 hertz resolution for this is iPhone 14, but
Oh, okay. Well, close enough.
So it is higher. But so the Steam Deck, when docked, can reach 4K resolution. So this can do 4K.
Okay.
That's my argument, my thing.
All right. Fair
I didn't
enough.
know that, but if you plug this guy into a dock, you can get it up to 4K.
Right. But
It runs natively around 720. It's like
it is
800.
bigger, though. It is bigger.
It is bigger. Yeah. That's the hard part.
I would assume there's more in here for it being bigger.
Yeah.
It's thicker.
A lot of it's like cooling
fan-
too. You
Yeah,
know?
the cool. Yeah, that's basically what it is. Honestly, they're about the same weight. Like,
No. That's heavier.
is it?
Oh yeah.
They feel very similar.
Yeah. Now they're let me see.
Anyway, that's not just kind of like a minor thing.
Yeah. It is actually closer than I thought. You're actually right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think because there's more metal in the
Yeah.
Switch right now.
Yeah.
It has like
yeah,
a
there's
metal
a lot of plastic.
plate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is still heavier, but this is definitely heavier than I thought it was.
Yeah.
Yeah. Interesting. For those audio listeners, we have the Steam Deck and the Switch OLED in front of us to compare and contrast.
Yeah.
But so like what do we want this Super Switch to do? Like if they call it the Super Switch or whatever they call it, like we mentioned, resolution or whatever, but like as far as the form factor goes and its capabilities, like what would make it push it to the next level from a Nintendo fan?
I think it should obviously increased increased capacity to hold games, better battery life. Man, it better have a really good LCD screen if it's not going to be OLED.
You don't like OLED?
No, I like OLED.
Oh, okay.
But it says here that's rumored to have an LCD
yeah,
screen,
yeah.
so that's like it's not even OLED. Like
Yeah.
it better have a badass LCD screen on there.
Hopefully that's just like a misprint or something.
I feel like it needs to have OLED going for it. Okay, well, fair enough. If they want to keep the price down, yeah, you probably start with the LCD screen, get everybody in again, and then go forward with, like getting a new screen later on, I guess. Yeah, I think those are I mean, you have Bluetooth capabilities. Already connects to Wi-Fi. I mean, yeah, Wi-Fi, internet. I guess that's it, man. Those are the big ones.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. Do we need a bigger screen size? You tell me.
I don't think so.
I don't know if they can get a bigger screen size. I mean, they could. They could cut them out all the way and make the full front like a legitimate screen. Like it's just full screen.
Yeah, I just don't want a bigger form factor is my main thing.
I agree.
Yeah,
I think it's pretty
I like
good.
the form factor of that because I mean, like the Steam Deck is too big of a device. It's fine, but it's not true portable like I want it to be. Like the Switch is. The Switch is very easily like a one-handed, like just throw it in your bag and you're fine. This guy, although it is still that way, it's still a little bit more bulky.
Yeah, it is. It is.
To transfer around, but
Right.
yeah, I'd like to see if they can find a way to redesign the Joy-Cons
Agreed.
because like I don't know what you do because like they're
this?
huh?
Do it just like they have for the Steam Deck. For the,
No.
the joysticks.
No, I mean like
Oh.
the functionality of this as a singular controller. Like I don't like how this
I
feels
see.
like that. And then when it's and because of how they had to design it when it's like unconnected,
Yeah.
it
yeah.
feels awkward here too because everything's kind of tight, on it. So like it'd be you have to redesign it both ways. But I mean, this is fine because like it's always connected. You know what I mean? But
I gotcha.
like the fact that those like are disc, you can pull them off and stuff like that. Like I want it to be a better experience, both connected and disconnected. I don't know what the solution would be for that because I mean this makes logical sense the way they designed it.
Yeah, it
it's
does.
symmetrical and like the positioning of the joystick is almost in the exact same spot on one axis versus the other.
Right.
The buttons are pretty close except for on the controller that's got the little screen capture side. Like everything's a little bit more condensed together. Up, I don't know. It's just like in different position, kind of.
Yeah.
But it's still it's because it's when you're holding it, the middle the buttons you use are like right in the middle of it versus like on the edges.
Right.
But I don't know, something different that would.
Honestly, I think it's fine. I agree with your concern, but when you get down to it and you're playing with friends and you've been drinking, it's just like whatever. Like it works. It
Yeah,
works.
I mean, the controls are simple enough. It's not
Yeah.
a huge deal usually. But
right.
Yeah. The only thing I would like to see different is, I mean, I think really the screen resolution is a big one. I just want more games to be able to come on it sooner because it definitely. And I don't know how they can do this, but like, you know how like we used to say like this was like the indie device, you know? I feel like I haven't had that as much lately. There's certain indies that come out like Viewfinder, like didn't come out on the Switch at launch. And like there's certain games that just don't release
I think
on the
it's
Switch like they used to.
I think it's because Switch came out. There weren't a lot of games,
Right.
so indies came in to fill that space. So they were able to take off like they haven't before because it was like a year or two before like some kind of big-ish title would come out for Nintendo. So that like the heyday of like this is the indie game platform has like come and gone. Because come to find out, if you go buy an indie game on Steam, it's less because Nintendo takes a bigger cut or whatever. Like there's something in there with how much games cost on the Switch, and they've always been more expensive. They've always been like some
Well, they
kind
don't
of
ever
price
run
tag.
discounts either.
Yeah, that too. Very, very seldom. So I think that's come to the point where people just like have to be like, well, it's not worth putting more time and effort to make a Switch version because we still have to charge more regardless. So how much more are you guys actually going to make?
Yeah.
That's where I would say that comes into play.
Yeah, I think too the Switch they put a lot of money into marketing indies and promoting indies in the early days of Switch, which is why we saw so much of that more than anything.
Exactly.
They were fun. I don't know if they were funding anybody to move over there, but I know that they were doing a huge marketing push to help them sell. And I think that's probably a lot of reason why it's dropped off too, is that they're just not marketing as much as they used to.
Yeah.
Because they don't have to, because they have a pipeline of their games coming out. Like I was reading in this article that Nintendo's announced a lineup of games for the current Switch, including, as we mentioned, Detective Pikachu Returns, Super Mario Bros. Wonder, WarioWare Move It, and much more. And then there was another article I was reading earlier that said that there's even talks of, there are some rumored games coming out next year that we haven't even seen yet. Like I saw like Princess Peach. Here we go. Yeah, Luigi's Dark Moon and an untitled Princess Peach game. And then obviously still Metroid Prime 4 rumored to be coming out at some point in the future. So they have a lot of big name titles coming out, but they just don't push it as much. And then also it doesn't help that the Steam Deck came out and basically like, why would I buy an indie on my Switch when I can buy it on my Steam Deck and get it for like $5?
Yeah, exactly.
Like you said, with like the discount and stuff like that.
Yeah. And there's more discounts, more sales for all indie titles on Steam. So it's a no-brainer.
Yeah.
So we're back to like, I have a PlayStation to play PlayStation games on only. So if there's not one out, I'm not playing my PlayStation.
Yeah.
Same with the Switch. There's not many Switch games out. I'm not going to play my Switch.
Yeah. True.
So, plus there's a lot of like games coming out right now that I'm just like, well, I'd rather play that and they're on my PC. So
Yeah. Yeah. Would you buy a Switch too?
I would.
Yeah.
I would. They better tie it with like the next Zelda or like Metro Prime 4 or whatever.
This is true. I do hope so.
And I think that might be what happens. Because Metroid Prime was supposed to come out like years ago now.
Oh,
and
yeah.
They got delayed and they rebooted it or they restarted the production or had to, I don't know what they did. They did something where they had to restart it.
They rebooted it. New team.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I feel like they're probably going to wait for Switch 4 or sorry, Switch 2.
Yeah.
That just makes sense. Like they need some big title to come out during that time.
Yeah.
Just like I had Breath of the Wild, which changed everything.
Yeah. That's true. I'm interested to see if there's a lot of rumors saying it's gonna be the Super Switch, like Super Nintendo. I kind of like that. I think it could be fun.
Super Switch?
Yeah, it's kind of fun, kind of neat.
I know.
So we'll see if that actually comes to
Nintendo
fruition.
Super Switch?
Yeah. There's also a rumor that it could have some kind of AR VR component
Oh,
Probably not VR, but I'd say more AR. But I don't know what that means. But there was talks of that, like some kind of new camera thing in it. So
know
there might
about
be some
that.
kind of feature.
don't do that.
You know what else I
Gonna
want
raise
to
the
do?
price.
Actually, what I want them to do, I want the resolution for sure. They need to fix Nintendo Switch Online. I mean, like, that's where the money should be going. I shouldn't have to pull up a dedicated app to like talk to my friends. Like, I don't play online because of that feature. Like, there might be some things that we play online with if like I didn't have to pull up my phone to connect to the internet and talk to my friends. It's weird.
That's kind of weird.
That whole system's kind of broken, but maybe they'll figure it out next time. We'll see. But the Super Switch, do you think it's real? Will it come out next year? What do you want the Super Switch or the Switch 2 to do? Or are you content with what we got? Let us know. Comments below.